This is AnimeCons TV. On this episode, Doug and Shiva discuss a virtual guest at Anime Expo. We interview voice actor, ADR director, and notorious Yankee fan, Tom Wayland. Elizabeth and Doug teach you how to get started in cosplay. And we get even more voicemails.
This year at Anime Expo, they've announced a concert by virtual pop idol Hatsune Miku of Vocaloid. I believe the concert's taking place on the Saturday, July 2nd. Is that Saturday or is that Sunday? I think it's Saturday. So they're actually going to have a live concert where she's projected as a hologram on stage, and she's considered the virtual guest of the convention, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, I mean, this is the first time we've seen a virtual guest for an anime convention. It's kind of reminds me of Macross Plus and Sharon Apple, you know, a virtual pop star, someone who actually doesn't exist having a concert. It's
not even that the character is there; it's a hologram of the character is the guest. Yeah, it's kind of odd.
It's kind of weird to see how things are evolving, how, especially, you know, Anime Expo, one of the premier events, is continuing to evolve as the medium and everything takes shape and more things come out and different things happen.
Well, it's kind of interesting how Vocaloid is taken off anyway, considering it's not an anime, it's not a manga, it's a software program which has a voice synthesizer, and the designs came out just as an advertisement for it. It's not that they're characters, they were just designs to market it, like, you know, the toucan on the Fruit Loops box. And it became so popular with fans and cosplayers, they created kind of this whole, you know, character behind it, like between fan fiction and stories and stuff, that they've actually come out now with video games in Japan. They haven't been released in the United States, but Project Diva is one of them. They have a dance game that's kind of like, it's not DDR, but it's kind of like Rock Band, but it has the characters dancing. So it's kind of interesting that that's created such a fan culture that now they're going to do this. Yeah,
and I'll be curious to see, you know, a couple years from now how this evolves. You know, maybe other virtual characters will be coming to conventions for something like that, maybe more from the Vocaloid group or something like that. I mean, there's a lot of possibility to see how this goes and how much of a reaction it gets from fans.
I'm not sure about the technology behind it, but if you want to check it out, there have been other virtual concerts by Vocaloid characters before. They are on YouTube if you look them up. I think they're all in Japan, but you can kind of get a sense of what it looks like with the live audience and the actual character projected on stage. So it should be exciting.
And you see the audience, they just go nuts for that. So I wish I could make it out to Anime Expo to see this in person, because it is such a big deal and something so different.
Right.
So if you're going to Anime Expo, definitely check it out and send us an email or leave us a voicemail.
Yeah, let us know how it goes.
We're dying to know.
We're curious. It looks really neat.
So in this segment, we're going to explain how you can start getting into cosplay. A lot of Cosplay 101 panels are kind of a basic rundown of general sewing tips and things like that, but cosplaying is not all about sewing. It's about creating costume, and there's a lot of different ways you can do that without having to sew. Now, I have Doug with me here. Doug wants to start getting into cosplay. He and I cosplayed last year at Anime USA, where I made his costume, but he wants to be able to create stuff on his own so he doesn't have to rely on his friends to create something for him when they have, you know, busy schedules. But so the first thing you should do if you want to be a cosplayer, if you want to make a costume or even buy a costume, is figure out, well, who you want to be. Now, the best way I do this is I write down a list of all the characters I like and also the designs I like as well. But just list people who draw your attention when you're watching episodes or playing video games, people who you think not even necessarily even look like you, but people you want to be. And that's a good starting place. So, Doug, are there any specific characters that you like and that you would like to cosplay?
Oh, there's a whole bunch. I mean, just starting off, I mean, Lupin the Third's been one of my favorite ones. It's always a classic, and it's a fun one because I know a lot of people will recognize it right off the bat. So that's one. I think another one would be Guilford from Code Geass. Would be another one that I really like. I think he's a fun character and neat design. He's got all those little like crosses across the uniform and everything like that. So.
Yeah. Do you have any others? I know you gave me a whole bunch.
Let's see. Another one would probably be Anavel Gato from 0083, Gundam 0083, because I'm a giant mecha nerd. Let's see. You could even go old school and probably do Ryoga Hibiki from Ranma 1/2. That's another one of my favorite characters. And unlike, let's say, Lupin, where everyone's known, I know, unfortunately, Ranma, fewer and fewer people know it. So people see the costume like, oh, who are you? So that's another one that I would love to do. Okay.
A couple other examples you gave me that I really like are Great Saiyaman from Dragon Ball Z and Mitsukake from Fushigi Yugi. Hopefully some of our younger viewers know what those are. So once you have a list of who you want to be, Doug's list is kind of short. Mine is epic and like probably 100 characters on it. You should break it down into what you can do with your body type and what you can do with the skills that you have. Now, for me, like I'm kind of on the shorter side. I'm like 5'5", so I can't do any like really super duper tall characters, where Doug's kind of on the taller side. So he can't do, you know, like Honey from Orange High School Host Club or anything like that. I mean, he could, but it would look weird. He'd be better as Mori.
Unless you're going for the ironic angle.
He'd be better as a Mori, unless he was next to Packer D. That might work. So you want to keep that in mind to make sure that you're not looking too weird, but really, just, if you really want to, go ahead. But also, what kind of skills you have at the moment and who might be able to help you. Now, I know you mentioned Guilford from Code Geass. I made Cornelia a couple years ago, and it is kind of a challenging costume. Yeah. So I think like where you are, where you don't really know how to sew, that's a kind of challenging one to do. One that could work is Great Saiyaman, because it is kind of like just a green tunic that he wears over pants, and you could probably have someone make that for you, or you can make that from a pattern. Pretty simple. There's not a ton of little details that go into it, so that's a nice simple thing to work with that you could definitely get started with. Ask your friends for advice and things like that. I'm gonna do a search for, see if I can even spell Mitsukake. Look at that, he's the only thing that comes up. So Mitsukake is a similar thing where it's kind of a similar straight design in just like kind of a basic tunic, basic pants, not a lot of intricate details that you have to worry about with painting or armor or anything like that. So make sure it's something that you can do. And what I like to do is you take each different part of the costume. You start with the head, the hair, and any head pieces. So you have that. You have the body, the shirt, any layers that they have, arm pieces, gloves, things like that, belts, and then the bottom half, pants, and then finally shoes. And then for each thing that you do, you draw up a list that say, okay, I need this wig, I need this thing wrapped around my head, or this helmet. Okay, I need this jacket, I need this shirt, I need this thing. You want to break it down to a level where you can see each individual part that you then need to make. And then you see, okay, what can I do? What do I need help with? I learned how to sew from my mom, so sometimes I'll go to her and be like, all right, I don't know how to make this. So you definitely want to, don't be afraid to ask for help from your friends. Cosplay.com is a good resource if you have questions, and they have a great search tool to search what other people have done.
Definitely ask questions. I mean, some of the stuff I'm already starting to brainstorm. I've already found stuff that I never would have even thought of just because I opened up Google and looked up the costume and found references and stuff like that.
Don't be afraid to ask people who have already made the costume how they did something. Don't just email them, go like, oh, how'd you make that? Ask them, like, what kind of fabric did you use for that shirt? Did you use a pattern? Did you buy it somewhere? So don't be afraid to ask people. If they don't respond to you, just assume they're either a jerk or maybe they missed the email, and ask somebody else. I always like it when people ask me for advice on things that I've done, because it's a great learning tool. And then A lot of cosplay is trial and error, trying to see if what works, what doesn't work. Learning from your mistakes is a huge part of learning how to cosplay. I know that. I definitely know that from doing it for a few years now. So it's definitely something you want to keep in your thoughts while you're working on something. If it doesn't work out, that's okay. Try and figure out if there's a different way to do it.
I'm here with Tom Wayland, anime voice actor, director, best known as a producer of current voice directing for Pokemon as well as other projects. So first off, congratulations on over 10 years now in the anime industry. That's a great victory.
Yeah, it's been pretty fun.
What was the first convention you ever attended?
Okay, the first convention I ever went to was ICON, which is in Long Island at, I think, SUNY Stony Brook. And I believe that was in 2001. I think I've been doing this a little over a year. And yeah, an ICON, for people who don't know, is not just an anime convention. It's really a sci-fi convention, and then there's anime stuff that they did there. So I went to that one when I was working for Central Park Media.
What's your favorite part of going to anime conventions? What do you enjoy most?
I really like, I've made a lot of friends at conventions, doing conventions, and some of them are people who were like fans that I've gotten to know. Some of them are convention staff, people that I've gotten to know. And then, of course, there's all the other guests, and especially out-of-town guests. The New York people I see, you know, often, because pretty much anybody who does voice acting in New York works with me at some point. But like getting to see the actors from Texas, the people from LA. So it's fun. It's, you know, a nice gathering of friends, and we'll always end up getting together and going out and partying and having a good time. So that's my favorite thing.
Well, it's a lot of people say one of the reasons they keep going to conventions is it's one of their few chances to see friends from all over the country and even all over the world.
Yeah, I totally agree.
What's something you wish you'd see more conventions do?
You know, interactive events or workshops. I'm not so into the, hey, here I am, come kiss my ass thing. You know, I mean, granted, I am not on the level of fame as some of the other people. People know who I am, and everyone has seen my work because I work on Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! And all of that stuff, which is so ubiquitous. But I mean, you know, I like to be able to do things at conventions. So something that I've done at conventions before is like live readings, where we've gotten like a manga or a comic. I did an event for Neil Gaiman. I don't know if you know Neil Gaiman, but you know, creator of Sandman, and he's written a ton of books, and he's pretty amazing. And they actually they got in touch with me, and they're like, hey, could you put a live reading together for Neil for the 20th anniversary of Sandman? And I was like, are you kidding me? I mean, of course. And I got a bunch of voice actors together, and we did a performance of a couple of issues of Sandman. So like things like that, I would like to see more of, to be able to do more of. I know you can have licensing issues with things like that, which obviously is a pretty big hurdle to get over. But, you know, live events like that, workshops where you're actually sort of doing things, teaching people. I have often done things where I would bring bring a portable Pro Tools kit in, and we would have, you know, actors come up, or you know, or rather fans come up and try their hand at voice acting. So interactive things like that are fun because I don't mind answering the questions about, like, how did I get into this? How do you get into this? All of that stuff. But I answer the same questions at every convention. So it's nice to be able to do other things. And I think it's more fun for the attendees, you know.
And lastly, what's your favorite part about working with the anime industry?
I don't know. I mean, it's creative and fun. I do like going to conventions, and it is kind of, you know, the coolest thing now these days is when my kids' friends find out what I do. And they're like, oh, really? You know, and I'm like, that's right, you know. And I got to like put my son, Henry, has been in a couple episodes of Pokemon. Like I've thrown him in on bits, and he's good, like he's doing well. You know, he doesn't play lead roles, but he'll be like, you know, here comes this kid who has like 3 Qs, and the last episode he did, it was my character and his character having an interaction. and he did really well, and he really enjoyed it, and then he can go tell all his friends, hey, I'm going to be on TV this week, and they'll tune in and catch him. So I mean, I think my kids think what I do is cool. I really hope they do, because like that is it's nice to hear from fans. But if my kids are like, wow, this is really great, that's better than anything. So if it impresses their friends and that works out good for my boys, then that's good stuff. So it's been fun.
Well, great. Thank you for taking the time to talk with us. And you can see more about Tom Wayland and his past and future conventions appearances on AnimeCons.com.
Yeah.
It's voicemail time! So let's hear our voicemail.
Well, I have to say I was pleased that you played my last voicemail, and I don't really know what to say to you now, so I thought I'd sing you a birthday song. That's right, for $5, we'll love you long time.
Yeah, thank you, movie phone guy. Well, again, call us up whenever and leave a voicemail. Visit AnimeCons.tv for links to our forums, Twitter, Facebook, iTunes subscription feeds, and past episodes. Join the fun and leave us some more voicemails at 762-ADEQUATE. That's also known as 762-233-7828. Next month, we'll be reporting from PortCon, Maine, where Elizabeth and I will be guests, and both of us will be running panels and game shows. And Patrick D. and Jekka will be running Anime Unscripted and the Chibi Project. Oh, and Doug will be running a panel too, because he keeps yelling at us to say that he's running panels.
I'm running panels!
Shut up! See you next month. There's nothing else there!
I don't know what I'm talking about. We report from Anime Boston 2011. Elizabeth sits down with Adam Sheehan of Funimation to talk about their new website.
What else is a good question to ask people?
Okay. Alright, shut up, we gotta do this. Okay. What are we doing?
And he's recording.
You bitch! I was like, that better be someone I know. Oh, God. Yeah, he did.
This is AnimeCons TV. I'm as tall as Patrick D. You do this all the time. Look, I'm Patrick D.
So good luck in your cosplay journeys. Wow, that was stupid.
I think the reason I keep moving away is because she keeps doing this. Like,
I talk like this because I am Italian.
dance, monkey, dance. So wait, we're doing.
Oh God, do I do the weirdest things on this show?